Hey folks, Vince the Evil DM here, and back with another episode of Railguns and Dragons. This week we're going to try something a little bit different. Normally we talk about classes and things like that and go over the races and whatever, but I wanted to delve into a little bit more of the Palladium fantasy world itself. Now I said after I would get done with the classes I was going to jump into, the world books and things like that and just talk a little bit more about that and world building and stuff like that. Fun stuff like that. Wanted to just jump into it now because I'm in the middle of planning or finishing up the final touches for my campaign. So I keep forgetting the camera's down here. For my campaign, and I wanted to talk about a little bit about the one of my favorite books, Western Empire. This book is an excellent resource for Palladium Fantasy 1E or even 2E. It's meant for 2E, but I should say even for 1E. 1E, there really wasn't a lot of information about the Western Empire, except what was in the book of itself. And this came out for 2nd edition when they explored it a little bit more. Now, the Western Empire, why I like it so much is because, as I was taking notes reading this, it pertains to the area that I'm starting my campaign. But the Western Empire is this big chunk of world, part of the world in the campaign itself. And if I can get a good map here, I'll throw it up on the screen. But here we go. The Western Empire, as you can see, right there is a big chunk of that continent there, and they're moving itself and expanding every day. Now, the Western Empire is ruled by an emperor, and the emperor has a bunch of nobles under him, which have a bunch of houses, which all split up the kingdom of itself. And there's all this infighting going on and political intrigue and, people. There's so much of a campaign that you can run just in this area for the game itself. And here we just got an example. All the houses and what they rule over the lands and everything like that. And they're expanding all the time. The emperor has plans to move into different territories, and you can use that as part of your campaign. Now, the empire itself, why I like it so much, it reminds me of a Roman Empire setup, the way it is. The Roman Empire when it really expanded under Caesar, and the people were celebrating all the time, drinking, having sex, things like that. They lived a good life. It also reminds me a little bit about feudal Japan, the way things set up with the houses and the people, like the prefects in feudal Japan that'll be over a certain area. Well, the houses are over certain areas and they rule their little areas. Well, when you finish reading this book, you'll know that the empire was once great and now it is declining. While the emperor is not admitting this, he's still trying to expand and move forward with the empire. It has a lot of potential for adventures inside of it. There are some adventure hooks in the back of the book, so you know where you can start. There are some houses in here that are detailed, big time. Like who the leader of the house is, who their wife is, who their daughter is, who their cousin is, who their dog is, things like that. They even have full city layouts in here for you of each of the houses. There are some houses that are not detailed in here at all, so you have to kind of make them up on your own, but they're small houses. Unfortunately, one of the houses that I had picked for the area of my game is not detailed in this book too much. So I have to kind of make it up on my own. But the good thing about these games is that you can write it up however you want, and it won't break the world. It won't break the rules. It won't break your game at all. And the one thing about Palladium Fantasy is that you're free to do whatever you want. And everybody knows going into Palladium that there's going to be changes, there's going to be house rules, there's going to be adjustments, so everybody can have fun. Now this book is probably going to run for about $25 or something like that, depending on where you get it. Maybe less if you get a good deal. I've seen these go for $15 or so. But it is well written by Bill Coffin. So Bill Coffin has written a lot of things in gaming. You'll see his name pop up in a lot of things from West End Games all the way to Wizards of the Coast. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. And when he writes something, I think he does a good job of it. The book is well written. I like the narrative of the book. In fact, I like a lot of the Palladium books, the way they're written. They seem to be written as if you were sitting there talking to the person writing the book as opposed to a boring lecture in a class. A lot of the Palladium books seem to have that. While they have, yeah, and I'm sure people out there are like, well, what about the mistakes? Yeah, Palladium has mistakes, typos, grammar things, but they're a small company that's been going on since the early 80s, probably even before that. They've done everything in-house, so they have a style with their books, which I like. I like the old style feel of every one of these books, no matter when it was made. It still has the 2-column layout with the I guess you would call the grayscale art in the inside. There's some city stuff there. I absolutely I love reading the books. Just sitting there, just reading them is a lot of fun. I'm gonna do some more videos when it comes to like these books, but I just want to do an intro to start with this. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the houses in here, maybe the Emperor himself. Something to think about for the future, depending on the feedback of this video. If you guys want to hear more of that type of stuff, please let me know so I can address it and we can talk about it. I do like talking about these things. So tell me what you think. Just a short little video talking about the Western Empire, the book itself, and why you should probably have this in your collection. It has so much information in it. You can have so much fun in here. But it's one of my favorite Palladium fantasy books, other than the core book itself. So with that said, I'm going to head out. Tell me what you think in the comments. This Friday, Unscripted Evil, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on my channel. I also do stream on Twitch. If you like watching games, I like to play survival games on Twitch. That's the Evil DM on Twitch. In the future, I will be doing some actual gaming on my Twitch channel, like RPG Tabletop Gaming. I'm going to get a small group of people. We're probably going to play some games on there, have some fun. Who knows? Check that out. So with that said, don't forget you can also click the button below to join this channel, support it. That way, if you want to support me, you support the channel by clicking a button that says join, I believe, in the bottom here somewhere. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.